Hey everyone, it's Amy. I'm in the studio. I've got my day designer with me and I am going to show you how I decorated in preparation for the month of May. So I love starting off with a blank slate. I'd like to decorate the background, so I'm going to take this Triangles Misting stencil from my Brooklyn pack and I'm just going to clean it because I noticed there's some ink on it. And of course I got some ink already on the page, but that's alright. This Creative Options case is the perfect size for storing these distress inks from Tim Holtz. This color is the mustard seed and I'm taking the ink blending tool, getting it all inked up and just dabbing where I want to on the stencil. And you can see that there's a varied effect. I like that look, so I'm going to also add the triangles over here as well. And to complete the visual triangle, literally, I'm going to add just a little bit up here at the top. And after I did this, I realized that I wanted another color to be added to it, so I took the spiced marmalade and laid the stencil right on top and added some ink. So it looks really cool. I like the effect that it produces. It's not an ombre, but it's tonal. I like it. Anyway, so I'm going to remember to clean off my stencil with a baby wipe and grab these stamps. These are part of the Rise and Shine collection with American Crafts. Also, you'll find the Brooklyn stencils that I just used as well. I'm going to stamp these using Tim Holtz Distress Ink in Cracked Pistachio. That was an Already Memories Distress Ink container or case that I just pulled that out of. And it's a really nice little organizer. So I take a baby wipe and I just wipe off the edges a little bit because I want these to be just the triangle. Whoops. And then what I'll want to do is I'll take the outline of the triangle, which also comes in that set, and take this Hero Arts Shadow ink and stamp kind of right on top of it. I like the offset look, so it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're into perfection, perhaps you have a better technique of doing this, but I kind of let go of that idea because my stamping always turns out a little bit more messy or unintentional than I had intended. So here I'm going to do the reverse. I stamp the outline first and then I'm going to fill in with the solid. This next stamping action is going to, whoops, camera's shaking, sorry. That flower stamp is actually from Studio Calico. It came with a kit, I believe last year, and it sold out, sorry. But I just love this stamp so much. So I'm going to kind of stamp it off the page a little bit. It brings a nice amount of interest and kind of detail, and I'm not going to color it in, I don't think, but this Hero Arts Ombre ink is something that I have been playing with, and you can see this tester sheet here. I learned on Jennifer McGuire's YouTube channel, Jennifer McGuire Ink, that you have to do kind of a shimmy, or she calls it something, but it's like a dance almost, to get the right amount of coverage of ink. So I'm going to play around, and I think I'm going to stamp it down here. And once it dries, you can tell that I probably should have cleaned off the stamp a little bit better, but it's a nice ombre effect. So I've got these skinny washi tapes. This is an Already Memories washi tape box. And I'm going to block out the dates where I'm going to be out of town in certain places. So I'm just adding different colors. I think this is a really simple system and it kind of makes it visually interesting too, to see where you're going to be or what you're going to be up to. You can mark off everything from travels to if you have tests or if you're on break or you have to work. Different colors can represent different things. So blocking all of this off. And the nice thing about washi tape is that it just tears easily. So you can just oops. Okay, so on the other side, you can see that the ink does bleed through. It really does not bother me. I know that for some of you guys, it really annoys you and you can't take it, but it doesn't bother me one bit. I keep this planner actually in my office in the studio, so it doesn't go with me. Oh, here is the best washi tape pen. Okay, so this is a marker. It's from Japan, and it has two tips, and I use typically the thin side to write directly on the washi tape. I know there's probably a lot of options out there, but I believe that this one was made just for washi tape, so it writes really smoothly, doesn't take too long to dry, and it doesn't smudge. So what I decided was, since I was going out of town for all that time, but I'm going to different places, I put down different colors indicating those different cities that I was going to be in. So I'm just going to fill in the cities here. And I think that I was going to try and do a bunch more descriptive, kind of exactly what we're doing, Jenny's bachelor party weekend in Fort Lauderdale and all that stuff, but I wanted to just keep it simple and put in the pertinent information. I can always go back and fill this in later after the fact. So yeah, those are the places that I'm going. I'm going to take these crepe paper craft market stickers. They're like chalky, and I'm going to stick that down right there for Mother's Day. And one of my favorite white pens ever is this Uniball Signo white gel pen, and I like to start it a little bit just to prime it, and then I can write Mother's Day. And it really pops off this pink. Next, I want to do some stamping. These are great acrylic stamps. These are by Sweet Stamp Shop and Evalicious. And I love stamping in my planner because, like I said before, I don't care about what happens on the other side. But if you do, I would just practice with different inks. And, oh look, there's a little tangerine. Isn't that cute? And what I decided to do here was, with this travel set, I'm going to be on an airplane quite a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp on the days when I have a flight. So here, I'm just using the Simon Says Stamp ink, and then at this point I decided I probably should have stamped in the direction I was actually flying, but I realized too late, so I guess the plane that's facing towards the left, which is the west, is going to be when I'm flying home. Alright, so I'm making sure to clean off this stamp. Now I'm taking my watercolors, and I love writing with watercolors, as you already know, and this is something that I like to do because it just adds a personal touch and a nice little twist to the whole spread, whatever you're working on. I'm writing a YouTube video every weekday for one of the top goals for the month. And I think that this was a good experiment. It was very lofty, very challenging for me. Oops, there was a little hair that was hanging off. For those of you who don't know, I use a Royal 2 brush and the Artist Loft set from Michaels typically for my watercoloring. And I like to do both uppercase, lowercase, cursive, or modified cursive, whatever you want to call it. Next, I'm going to take these roller stamps. One of them is by A Beautiful Mess, and this one is mine with American Crafts from my Rise and Shine collection. Taking the ink and just deciding what I want to stamp. This is a really good stamp for planners because the print is so small and kind of skinny. I found the best ink to use is this Ranger Archival ink. I think it's because the sponge pad is kind of stiff. It's not as cushy as other ink pads, and it just works really nicely. So as you can see, I'm just finishing it off with the same kind of details that I showed you before. I used an American Crafts precision pen. Oh, this Pink Fresh Studio stamp reminds me of Jack, so I had to use it. And I just want to fill it all in to kind of have a base for what the month looks like. And then I can always go back and fill in the details later on too. Okay, so the month of May is looking really good and colorful and fun. This is that American Crafts precision pen in 03 that I mentioned before. And I hope you enjoyed watching these techniques and feel inspired to use some of them in your planners and paper projects. Thanks so much for watching.